Michelle Waterson is in my house, y'all. What's up, girl?
I'm so excited to be here.
I am too. We were just out on the porch a minute ago talking about how long we've known each other. And it's really crazy to think about, actually.
A long time. Yeah.
A long time.
Well, I mean, it has been a long time. Araya was probably a toddler. Now she's 14. But I think we've just gone through so many different phases of life. And maybe that's why it feels like such a long time,
Yeah, I think that's true. It's like we've both done so many things in our life, and we were talking about we weave into each other's lives at certain times throughout. And now here we are. I think we met each other, 10 years ago, 12 years ago now?
It feels like, it was maybe 12, maybe even longer. Because I knew you before I got signed to the UFC. Probably before I was the champ at Invicta. I don't know. Did I know you before that or after that?
I feel like I'm not really sure.
Because I know that I was with On It before I became the champ at Invicta.
Yeah.
And so, and that's kind of around the time when I met you, when you were getting into your jiu-jitsu journey, and I came down there to work some privates with you and all of that. But it's cool. It's cool to see the growth. And I think that's why I've just loved keeping in touch with you, because, you've grown and I've grown and we've kind of grown together and just been supportive along the way.
Yeah. It's really cool to see where you've been and where you've come from and where you are now. And I definitely want to talk about that, but I want to go back a little bit and talk about you're such a badass. Oh. I mean, we were just talking about that out there. What badass for hire? Okay, this one.
That's me.
Yeah, that's Michelle. And so take me to how did you get into fighting? Was it something that you always loved? Were your parents into it? How does a girl, which I also want to talk about, female and a male dominated sport and the idea of that, but how did you step into it?
Well, it's not, I'm not a fighter at heart. I'm a lover, and if you talk to any of my family, when I was growing up, I was the peacemaker of the family. My sister's kind of like that. My sister was the troublemaker. She was the one that got into fights. She's the more aggressive one between the two of us, and my brother's kind of like the quiet, silent type. But he kind of is the one that got me into martial arts. He's my older brother, and if you have an older brother, you kind of, you want to impress them. You want to be like them. And so, I grew up in the era of Ninja Turtles, Mortal Kombat, Power Rangers, Van Damme movies, all of that. And so, when there was a little martial arts studio that opened up in the basement of the church that was just down the street. And it was something that all three of us kids could do. My parents could afford it and we could walk there. So in between my parents, working and stuff like that, it was just something that was very easy for us all to do. And so we did it and we ended up falling in love with it. And it kind of became a family affair.
So when was from the time that you left Thailand to go to train at Jackson's, when was your first fight?
Well, it was I came back from Thailand and then I started, it all kind of happened how it was supposed to, right? So I came back and, at that time I was working at Hooters to pay for college, and they always come to the Hooters to talk to the Hooters girls to do little local jobs here and there. And so I had gotten a local job to be a ring girl for a MMA fight, for MMA promotion. And I remember being a ring girl for the MMA promotion and being watching them in the cage and being I'd rather do that. I'm talking to the promoter and telling him that I have a martial arts background and I think that I would enjoy fighting. And he kind of laughed at me, but one of the fighters overheard me. That fighter's Donald Cerrone. And so he ended up coming into my work and was hey, if you're serious about fighting, get your ass in the gym, and left his number. And I was serious about fighting. So I called him and he kind of took me under his wing and took me to all these kind of little corners of Colorado to get some training in. And, I did little smokers here and there. And, I think even him too thought it was kind of just a bucket list thing that I wanted to do. And he's all right, so you got your first fight. Are you done with it? And I was no, this is what I'm going to do. I am a martial artist. I'm a martial artist, and so like I pursued it, and it was great. Like he was actually the one that encouraged me to move to New Mexico. But so before I moved to New Mexico, there was a show that I auditioned for. It was called Master Toddy's Fight Girls. So Master Toddy's like this. He was like a Muay Thai instructor in Vegas, and he was really famous for pulling girls and making them like Muay Thai fighters. He was Gina Carano's Muay Thai coach, and so she like rose to stardom, and her and Julie Kinsey actually were the first females to be broadcast on live television.
Oh wow!
With their fight, and so I know Gina, and so Gina was one of the coaches on the show, and I went and did the show, and learned a lot from it. Came back and took came back off of that show. I still consider amateur. And then when I came back off that show, I took my first professional MMA fight. And I was like 2 weeks fresh from being 21.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's so wild. It's so wild to think about.
Yeah.
And I feel like though, I think the promoter screwed up clearly, because obviously you're a beautiful girl who's a complete badass. Like, how could he not be like, yes, sign her up? But then it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Sure.
Like you said, like Donald came in, helped you out. And I mean, what an amazing person to have in your corner and like show you the ropes of that.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, looks can be deceiving, so he probably just didn't know that I did have a martial art background, you know, and even now people like, I'm teaching these sheepdog courses and stuff like that. And it, in the sheepdog 2 course, it's a little bit more in depth. And so we'll go and we'll do like, we'll have to like, we take the guys to like walk through the mall and to try to pick out the peeps that are like following you and stuff like that. And nobody ever picks me out, 'cause I don't look like anything, I'm walking around looking like, what I look like with my tote bag. And
you're just going to Zara or something,
Yeah. And so, looks can be deceiving.
Yeah. That's why you don't try to fight someone on the street, because looks can be deceiving.
Yeah. Right. Unless you know what to look for. You're like, oh, that guy got cauliflower. I'm not messing with him.
Yeah. Seriously. By the way, if you see a guy with cauliflower ear or a female with cauliflower ear, do not mess with them. You will get your ass beat.
Or like blast double, take it to the ground, and then get your ass beat.
Yeah. Hopefully it's on camera so we can all laugh about it. Yeah. But I do want to talk about that too, is like looks can be deceiving. And you are in a male dominate, or you were in a male dominated sport. I still could consider you in it.
Yeah. And even now, like as an instructor and an owner of a martial arts school, as like a businesswoman, it's still, male dominant like spaces,
I felt that too, even working for Glory. I was the only woman that would be on cast, like anyone that I would hang out with as a guy or was a male fighter. I'm kind of like you. I always feel comfortable in those worlds because that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
2 older brothers. I constantly did whatever they wanted to do. I was just like, oh, you're doing a sport? I want to do the sport too. So I definitely feel that. What do you think? How do you say to people what do you say to people that say like women shouldn't be fighting, or that's not a sport for them?
Well, I think we're kind of past that. And if it's not, then like wake up, number one. And number 2 is like, actually there's a lot of numbers, I guess, but like, I think that women are natural warriors. Like, it is instinctual for us to protect our own, to protect our family, to protect our little ones. So like naturally we are the fighters. Like when you look at, like a group of lions, which ones are the ones that go out and hunt? The females. Do you know what I mean? Like when you look at the protectors, it's like the guy goes out to hunt the food, but the mom is left behind to take care of the babies. They still have to be badass, warriors as well. And so I just think in nature, it is in us. One. And then I also think that it is an individual thing. Like I would always joke, like, growing up, like GSP was like a huge icon for me. He did karate, and he's like, he was really good looking, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd always be like, how come nobody ever asked George St. Pierre, how come he didn't become a Calvin Klein model and he decided to fight instead? Like, right? But it's just because that's what he loved to do. I love to do martial arts. And so that's where the path took me into fighting. So it wasn't, if a girl likes to cook or skateboard, that's just what they like to do. And it should just, there should be options available for them to do what they enjoy doing.
Yeah. It's like, it should just be that.
Right.
And cool. So, you like to skateboard. Great.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think the spaces that I, fell into, like at Jackson Wink, the reason why I fell in love with that space is because they didn't treat me as a girl. They treated me as their teammate. So if I'm gonna choose to take this path of the fighter, then you're gonna train right alongside me. We're all gonna go for runs together. We're all gonna spar together. We're not. There is no separation. You're not a girl. You're my teammate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's what I appreciated. I didn't want and I still think it. I don't know why they do it in the female boxing space where it's like 2-minute rounds for the females versus 3-minute rounds for the guys. Yeah. Like in MMA, in the UFC, like the girls fight 5 minutes just like the guys do. If we're headlining the show, it's 5 rounds. If you're fighting for a championship, it's the same thing. 5-minute rounds. There's no difference. We train right alongside the guys. And so I do really appreciate that the UFC is like, if you can put butts in chairs and you have leverage and you can pull the crowd, we're going to give you your space. We're going to give you your platform. And that's what it is. It's like, what can you bring to the platform? And if you can bring, eyes to the platform, then we'll give you the respect.
Yeah. It's just like, we're here to do a thing. And regardless if you're a man or a woman, we're just going to do that thing.
Yes.
And do it in our own unique way, but the same way.
Right.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I don't know why boxing does that.
I don't know either. And I don't know why the girls in boxing haven't petitioned to get that changed.
Right. Doesn't it wouldn't it piss you off?
2 minutes goes by so fast. And I understand it changes the style of the way you fight. But I just feel like if you have 3 minutes, you have more time to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that might be the reason why they don't change it, is because stylistically, they have to kind of sprint those 2 minutes versus take your time and pick your shots and kind of have more of a strategy and draw it out a little bit more with the 3 minutes. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I mean, I love watching female fights. I mean, I don't know if it's just because obviously I am one and I love the whole fight world, but I think also they get scrappy. Yeah.
The girls, we wear emotions on our sleeves and then when we fight, it comes out that way. You know what I mean? So I might be biased as well, but, I feel like, especially in the division that I was in, the strawweight division, it's stacked in the UFC. It's just kind of you have to keep an eye out for everyone from the top, from 1 to 15. That can fluctuate. 15 can fight for the belt at any time. Anybody that you fight between 1 and 15, it is a potential championship fight.
Yeah. Well, take me back to Invicta, because you were Invicta champ.
Yes.
Were you a mom yet?
Yes.
You were. Okay. So talk to me about one, becoming champion and what that was like. And then also how you flipped the switch from being a total savage to being this loving, caring, kind mother.
Well, I think that when I was pregnant with Araya, there was a lot of shift in the MMA world. Invicta wasn't even around. And then Invicta, came up and it was I'm watching all these girls that I did Master Toddy show with get signed to Invicta and then get pulled over from Invicta and then get pulled into the UFC with the new Tough show and them introducing a strawweight division in the UFC. And so there's just all this opportunity that is blossoming. And here I am just growing sideways, so I'm honestly, I tell people this all the time. I think I had a harder time. They talk about postpartum depression, but I think I had a harder time being pregnant because my body wasn't my own at that time. I was,
You're creating another human.
Yeah, I was baking.
Yeah.
I was cooking.
Yeah, you were.
So, I'm watching all these girls get signed to Invicta and to UFC, and here I am. And so I think it was just like a lot of unknown for me. And I think that's when we all have the most anxiety and doubt, is when you don't know what's next and what you can and can't do. So after I had Araya, I think it was just like, okay, like I have my body back. And
you had clarity on like what you could do.
Yeah.
What can we talk a little bit about, like your mentality as you're pregnant? You see everyone doing the thing that you want to be doing so desperately that you've done your entire life. How did you get through that time? Like, what were you doing to kind of support yourself, or like just move through it mentally?
Like when I was pregnant?
When you were pregnant and you're just witnessing everyone doing exactly what you want to be doing, but you're pregnant, you're growing like this beautiful baby and this human.
Well, so when I was pregnant, Coach Jackson and Coach Wink, they gave me a job as like a receptionist so that I could kind of supplement my income. It's funny, like I didn't know that I was pregnant in the first trimester. I didn't figure out I was pregnant until around 12 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So in the first trimester, I'm still like training, actually booked a fight, getting ready for the fight.
And so you're still sparring, grappling, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel normal?
I did. I think, and the reason why I felt like I had to take a test was like my boobs were like getting huge, and like I was like having to go pee every 10 minutes. And I remember going on this run with my teammates, and it just like taking me forever. And I was like, man, something's up. My body's changing. Like something's up. So that's kind of what triggered me to want to take the test. But yeah, so I think honestly, what kept me sane, I think, was my husband and my teammates, and my family, just super supportive and super reassuring. Like, you're young, you're going to have this beautiful baby. And after you have the baby, you come back to the gym, and it's going to, you're going to start off right where you left off.
Yeah.
And there's, we're here to support you, and we believe in you, and we know that you can do it. And so just like having that support and like their belief in me kind of was just like the driving factor to know, like, okay, like right now it might feel like an eternity, but in the long scheme of things, like this, and then also like after I had Araya, I think my mentality for fighting shifted as well. It was no longer just like a passion project. It wasn't something that I wanted to do because it was like invigorating and a challenge. It was something that I had to do. Like I had to be good at it because now I have a family. I can't just take a fight because it's fun and a challenge. Like I had to make something out of myself because it had to be a career, and I had to make money, and I had to support my family. Like now I had a family, and I wasn't. Fighting's dangerous. Like at any time you can, injure yourself in a way that it would change your life forever. So if I'm going to decide to do it, like it has to be for a reason.
All in too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that changed my mentality too, like having Araya moving forward into like preparing myself to get back in. I had a reason now.
Mm-hmm. So it was easier after the fact, after you already had Araya, to get back into fighting.
Yeah, during my pregnancy was the hardest.
Yeah.
After I had, like I felt like, so I met this doula in Albuquerque. In their pockets where it's like super hippy dippy granola.
Yeah,
like,
I would think so, right? New Mexico,
New Mexico, yeah. Santa Fe. So I met this doula.
You got some vortexes around there, I bet.
Exactly. So I met this doula, and she was amazing. She's like this older, like hippie lady, and she's like in love with Josh. Every time we went to go like take classes, she's like rubbing on his muscles and stuff like that. It was funniest. But we would do like these we would do these exercises where we like did transferring pain through art, right? So we would do like charcoal and clay and all these things. And I remember, I don't know how I got off on this tangent. I have to tell this tangent though, because
keep going. We're here.
Josh is like a bullshitter, and he didn't really believe in all like the hippy dippy stuff. And I think it's important to be in tune with your body, especially when you're like going through. I wanted to have a natural birth, so it's just like understanding my body and understanding how to like prepare for that fight.
Because you probably, exactly. You probably you're very in tune with your body already.
Yeah.
Right. Just from being able to use it as well as you do and how strong you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can imagine that like now shifting that mindset into, okay, I'm building this baby and
Mm-hmm.
having this baby. And it's like getting into the mindset of that.
Yeah.
And being in tune with your body during that is even more important.
Exactly. And it was, people were always like, oh, what's your toughest fight? And I'm like, labor.
Yeah. Seriously.
So, but yeah, so she's the sweetest lady.
The hippy dippy.
She's so sweet. And so we're doing art through pain, like transferring our pain through art. And Josh has this charcoal thing and he's like brushing away some of the charcoal because it's like breaking apart. And the doula's like, that's interesting, Josh. Why did you decide to do that? And I'm thinking like, I know he's just trying to clean off his canvas, you know? So I'm looking at him like, what is this fool going to say? You know, and he's like put on the spot and he's like, well, you know, it symbolizes Michelle's pain and me taking away her pain, like wiping it away from her. You know, and she's like, that is beautiful, Josh. That is so beautiful. Just looking at Josh like, you motherfucker.
Oh my God.
He looks at me like, I don't know what I'm talking
about. You're like, yeah, you should wipe away some of my pain.
Yeah. But he absolutely did. He was like my anchor, you know, going into labor. And I thought I wanted my sister there and my mom and, you know, my best friend. And it ended up just being him and I. And,
at home or where?
We were at a hospital, but it was like a natural birthing center area. So it was like, if you wanted any type of like, you know, intervention, you'd have to move to the 3rd floor. And I was not trying to move to no 3rd floor. And there was a point where I told Josh, like, I want the drugs. I want the drugs.
I always wonder that because I want to have a natural birth. And I always wonder, like, is there a point where you're like, okay, I want a natural birth. Never mind. Yeah. Please just give it to me now. Just give it to me. I'll be fine.
Exactly.
But there's also a point where you can't.
Yes. Yeah. So every time I was telling Josh, like, I want the drugs. I need the drugs. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can. He's like, okay. He just like butter me up. He's like, okay, babe, just one more contraction. Just one more contraction. And if you feel the same way, we can go.
Oh,
we can go. So
that's good.
Because he knew how badly I wanted, you know? And so that's like the tattoo that I have on my side. It's a labyrinth. And it's in a water lily because I ended up having her in the water. And so in a labyrinth, you think it's a maze and you think you're lost, but all you have to do is follow the path, you know, and you think you're there and then it takes you all the way out, but you have to continue to follow the path and it takes you to where you need to be. Mm-hmm. And so in labor, there's a point where you reach where you feel like, okay, I'm almost done. And then it like pulls you all the way out and you're like, oh shit, no, I can't. But then it's like you turn the corner again and then you're at the finish line, you know?
Do you think your fight experience helped you in labor?
Yes and no. I mean, I think for sure, like the physical parts of it, 100%, the mental side of it, 100%, but there's like no getting away from it. There's no getting away from the pain. You can't tap. You can't, you know?
True.
It's going to be there. And you kind of just have to accept the pain. Mm-hmm. You know, and you kind of, and what the doula would tell me is like, you have to like dig into the pain and kind of like, you know, accept it as part of what it's going to be, mm-hmm. you know? And so I don't know where I got off on that tangent. All that to say is I was more depressed when I was pregnant mm-hmm. because my body wasn't mine. Mm-hmm. And after I had Araya, I had my body back. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You had your body back. You had clarity on what you could do, where mm-hmm. you could go, and exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said earlier, you touched on it about living in the unknown. You just didn't know where you were going to be or how you were going to respond or what your body was going to be like. And that is exactly where we have all of our most anxieties. I mean, I flip out. Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty good at living in the unknown. And then I'm in the unknown and I'm like, God, you're a nutbag. Mm-hmm. Start thinking about all the what if scenarios and how it can all go wrong instead of how it could all go right.
Yeah. So and then when you live in your head, it's even worse. Like when you keep all those thoughts to yourself, because that monster grows, you know, it's like a seed that you plant that you didn't even know that you planted yourself. But the more you think about it, the more you water it, and then it grows and it grows. And especially if you keep those thoughts to yourself, because if you say it out loud, people are like, well, that's stupid. And then you're like, yeah, it is. And then you just
yes, I know, but it's still there.
Yeah, but when it lives in your head and you like, you know, you allow it to cultivate and grow, that's the worst.
Yeah. I mean, that'll really screw you over.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll mess you up in a fight, I'm sure.
100%.
Have there been moments where you, like, let's say you're in the cage and you just get mentally taken out of it by something?
Yep.
Walk us through that. How does that feel? What's going on?
I remember when I was fighting this girl, she was a professional boxer coming into MMA. Her name was Elena Reed. And so it was this huge thing because she was a huge thing in boxing and she was coming into the MMA world and she was just going to wreak havoc. Right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, she's coming into my world, you know, and I'm going to beat her or whatever. And I remember starting the fight and I was like piecing her up in the first round, like picking her apart, kicking her, keeping distance, moving. And then I remember going to the corner and just being like, it shouldn't be this easy. And I just literally that thought in my head, it shouldn't be this easy because she's like this world champion, flipped my mentality in my head. Like, yeah, it is supposed to be harder.
Oh.
And it just was in my head that it was harder going back out into the second round. And I literally like made it harder for myself because I don't know what mentality switch happened, but it was like, all right, well then I'm going to sit in the pocket and box with her. Oof. Because I don't know, I'm a dumbass. I was in that in that moment. And so I started boxing with her and she like had me pinned up against a cage and did this like 20 like piece combo on me. Oh, and in my head, I'm like, okay, she's going to be done soon here. And when she's done, it's going to be my turn. And she was like, never done.
She just kept going.
Yes. And then the ref called it. It became like, he called it was a TKO. And it was so stupid. Like it literally, I pulled myself out of that fight. And I like, just because it was like in my own head, I was like, I made it harder for myself.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing.
Well, I feel like humans do that a lot. With like, to be successful, we have to have challenge. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yes, I agree that you have to like walk through challenge to get to the other side. But I'm also at the point where I'm like, why? It doesn't have to be that hard. Uh-huh. Maybe it doesn't have to be. Maybe when it is easy, it's like happening. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
But it is crazy to like just one thought like that can take you out of a fight.
Yeah. Definitely. And you're right. Like, I have a sports psychologist and I think I struggled a lot with that. And, you know, we talked about that quite a bit, you know, in our sessions and, you know, and I think he just was like, I don't know if you think because you're a fighter, everything has to be a challenge and everything has to be hard, but why can't you think that, you know, your 20 years of experience has given you the momentum that you need for it not to be hard? Ooh. And I was like, I don't know.
Why would I think that way? Why would I think that every ounce of my being that I've been wanting to do this my entire life and just fully committing would have any effect on how I am today?
Yeah. So that was something I struggled with quite a bit, you know, and you know, there were some fights that like I was able to embrace that idea, and it did kind of just like thing like fall into place, you know, and it was like, I do belong here. I do. You know, I am a champion, I will win. And, you know, whatever anybody says, it doesn't matter because I know where I belong and those things fell into place. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like that sweet spot. And that's why, you know, so many fighters like end up like chasing that because it does become like when you do get that sweet spot, when you do find that flow, it is like the most incredible high and it's very hard to find, mm-hmm. you know? And so then you lose it and then it's like, okay, just one more fight. I can find it. All right. Give me one more fight. You know, and, you know, Father Time's a bitch, you know, so it is what it is.
And that's kind of, I mean, I want to talk about the Invicta champ and then going into the UFC. And now here you are retired from fighting. And I don't know if that was something that you went through about mm-hmm. being like, okay, one more fight, mm-hmm. one more fight, you know? Mm-hmm. Is that what did you feel like that resonated with you? Do you feel like, yeah, I was in a place where I was just kind of like chasing the carrot a bit?
Well, I know my skills and abilities, you know, and I know I have what it takes to be the champ. Yeah. And so that was what was like eating at me. It was like, when you're in the moment, things happen the way they're supposed to. And then it's kind of like the moment has come and gone. And it's just like you're full of regret as a fighter, you know, and it's like everything happens the way it's supposed to. But it's kind of like you quarterback Monday it, right? It's like, well, I could have done this and I should have done that and this and that and this and that. But the fight happened the way it's supposed to. And but for me, it was like, I mean, even now as like just newly retired, still feel like I can get back in there and compete against, the best of them. And so that it is hard. It's hard for a fighter to let go of that. And I think in my last fight was for me kind of like the last straw, because I know I could have beat her and I didn't. And so it was like, okay, Michelle, like, let's take our fight somewhere else.
How was that transition? Did you know going into that fight that you wanted to retire?
Yeah, I did. I didn't tell very many people. I told Dana, but I didn't want anybody like thinking that I was just taking the fight and it was going to be my last hurrah. I wanted to win the fight.
For sure, yeah.
You want to win you don't want to go out on a loss ever. But I just knew that that I had other desires, and that, I think it was like, I felt like it was my time to walk away.
Yeah. It was like, it is nice when you get to a point and you're like, okay, now I can close that door.
It was sad. It was very bittersweet, to be honest with you. It was very sweet of them to like put together the collage and like it warmed my heart that they, like kind of took it all the way back to the beginning and like showed my entire career in its entirety. And like when you see it that way, you can be proud, but at the time I just lost my last fight. And so it was like hard for me. I was like, can I be happy? I'm still pissed off that I lost this fight, So it's like, I didn't know how to feel, so it was like a bittersweet moment for me.
But in that moment when you were watching the collage, the collage of your entire career, could you be proud of yourself for what you had done?
Yeah. It's crazy. Like everything when you're in the thick of it, like I don't think you really give yourself the credit of all the things you've done. Right. Because it's just like, okay, on to the next one. Let's keep climbing. Let's get conquer another mountain. And so you don't never look back to see like all your accomplishments, and for them to kind of slow it down and show it all was really amazing.
How has the transition been from your last fight, retiring and deciding that you want to take your fight somewhere else? What has that transition been like?
It was hard. I mean, it still is hard. I think it's hard for a lot of fighters, like when you're so like solely focused on a single objective and it's very specific, to move on to something else and to like, to feel like, your identity is solely as being that one thing. Like solely as being a fighter. And I think I remember like, crying to my husband about it and being like, what am I going to tell people? Like, I've been a fighter all my life. I can't tell people I'm a fighter anymore. He's like, why? You are a fighter. You'll always be a fighter. It'll just be in a different arena. Like you're just gonna fight for different things. That's who you are. And like that gave me peace, when he said that.
I can't even begin to imagine what it's like transitioning from a sport like that, or in any sport, football, hockey, like whatever sport it is that you've played your entire life, and then retire and have this like kind of like new beginning and kind of like brand new awakening and getting to know who you are all over again in a totally different arena or a different world or place. I think about that often when I see these like football players or fighters like yourself retired. It's just like that transitionary period has to be weird and awkward and exciting and relieving and like happy and just like all of the emotions all at once.
100%. It is. And like, it's hard for me to watch fights because I'm like, I want to get back up in there.
Yeah, I bet.
And it's hard for me to talk to people sometimes because like, I don't know what to say. And then we were talking about it earlier. It's like, the first thing you when you meet somebody is like, oh, so what do you do? And I'm so used to telling people that I'm a professional fighter. And now I'm like, Well, I do a lot of things, you know. I'm a mom.
Come on.
And
Yep. List them out. List them out.
I'm a mom. I own a jiu-jitsu school, and we have restaurants, and we have investments. And so then I feel like I have to like list off all these things. And we were talking, I should just tell them, well, I'm a professional badass.
Yeah. Professional badass for hire.
Yeah. For hire. How much you won't hire me for?
Broadcasting. Yes, you're doing that now too.
Broadcasting, acting, you know.
Yeah. So I resonate with that as well, because I feel like I've been pretty good at a lot of things, but never great at one thing. So I've never been able to be like, I am this one thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I do this and I love to podcast, and I wanted to fight for a little while. And then I was a pageant girl, and I also was a professional wake surfer. And I just like to do a lot of things. You know, I don't know exactly where I fit in.
Yeah.
I guess is the thing.
I think that's probably why we like mesh, because we have like similar personalities in that sense. It's like if you see something that's a challenge, you're going to do it.
Let's try it,
and you're going to climb it to the furthest like tippity top that you can, and then you're just going to go find something else to do that's fun and challenging.
Yeah,
you know. So that's probably why like we like gravitate towards each other.
Yeah, I could see that, because I look at you and I'm so inspired. Not only just by your career, obviously, like, but that's a small part of who you are as an individual. You're an amazing mother. I look to you, and your daughter's awesome. She's so well behaved, and like, I want to hang out with you all the time. And I don't want to do that usually. I know. But it's like you've been so inspiring. You're always so kind and so welcoming to everybody. You've raised this incredible family, you know. It's truly remarkable. And like, from the outside looking in, I'm gonna cry too. From the outside looking in, it's something that I truly aspire to.
Thank you.
I love you, girl.
I love you too.
She was there when I broke someone's arm. I cried then too.
I was like, that's badass. And she was like, oh my God, I don't think I can ever do this again. You felt bad because you hurt her.
I felt bad. Yeah. That was my thing. I was just like, oh man.
You're like, oh my God,
sorry.
Whitney, that was badass. And you're like, oh my God, is she okay?
Is she okay? She did send me a message later, and she was like, it's totally my fault. I posted when I shouldn't have been. My husband works on that with me.
That's rough. Especially for girls, because our joints are a little bit more loose. You know what I mean? And so that happens quite a bit with girls.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah. Not to get off topic there, but yes, I am just like such a supporter and a cheerleader of you. And you have something really big coming up, which I'm going to be just on your ass about. I want to see everything. You have a movie premiere.
Yes, we're very excited about it. I mean, this movie has been like a while in the making.
Yeah.
So, it happened during COVID. The director of the movie, I think the stunt coordinator followed my MMA career. And so when he's putting together like the choreography of this movie, he had my style of fighting in mind for this specific character.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so they're trying to get in touch with me. And finally, it's funny how they got in touch with me, because they're in the UK. So he knew a guy that knew Bisping, and he knew that Bisping was a MMA fighter in the UFC. And because I fought for the UFC, he thought that Bisping might know me. I knew of Bisping, and I've worked with him a little bit through broadcasting. And so like Bisping reached out to me through Instagram and was like, hey, there's this director that wants to talk to you about a movie. Do you mind if I give him your contact? And I was like, yes, 100%. So he gave me his contact, and I wasn't sure, like sometimes you get people to reach out to you about projects, and it never ever comes to fruition, or it's like a small project that doesn't like, pick up any steam. And so the director calls me, and he kind of is like, hey, I want you to see this fight previs and let me know what you think. So he literally shows me this like 10-minute fight scene, which is like not very common in the movie world, right? But he's so passionate about fights that he puts together the fight previs before he puts together the script.
Wait, what's a previs?
Like fight previs is basically like the choreography of a fight scene.
Okay. Got it.
And it's like how they have to put that together before it's kind of like a script for fight scenes.
Okay,
right. So he puts this whole thing together, and he's like, that girl, like he's wearing a shirt that says like assassin, he's like, the assassin would be you. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, do I have to audition for it? He's like, no, like when we put together the previs, we had you in mind. So if you want the role, you have it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
They've made an entire role for you, built around you.
Mm-hmm.
See,
so
you're
like,
a badass.
I was like, yes, I'm down. Well, first, before I said I'm down, I was like, well, let me talk to my husband. Yeah, because it was in the UK and I wasn't sure what the stipulations were with all that. And Josh was like, of course you're doing it, like 100%. It's a huge opportunity. So directors, if anybody's like huge, like fight choreo, or fight film fans, the director is Gareth Evans, who directed The Raid. And The Raid kind of launched off as far as like what directors how much energy directors put into like fight choreo.
Oh, wow.
So, I ended up living in Wales for 6 months because I couldn't fly back and forth because it was like during that time when you had to quarantine for 10 days and we had to wear the masks in between shots and stuff like that. So it just didn't make sense for me to fly out and fly back and fly out. So I ended up living in Wales for about 6 months.
Wow.
Shooting the film. And after, they've been working on the edits and stuff like that, piecing it together to make it perfect. And finally it's coming out. It'll be on Netflix, April 25th.
Ooh, girl.
And I have a super cool role in the movie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're the assassin.
I am. Yes, I am the assassin. And it's a really cool film. And I have a lot of cool like fight scenes and I just, you got to watch it. I don't want to give them any spoilers. It's like super cool. Even if you see the trailer, I'm the one with the shotgun and I'm like, I pull the shotgun out, I pull it, and I blast through it. And it's like really cool. Yes, I get to shoot a shotgun one-handed.
All right.
It's pretty cool.
What is it called?
Havoc.
Mm-hmm. April 25th.
Rad. Is when it premieres on Netflix.
See, you're gonna do so many cool things, even like post fighting. I know this was like 4 years ago when you did this, but it's like, I'm just so stoked to see everything that comes up for you because you're like me. You're like, okay, let's just try these things and see what happens. I don't know how it's going to go, but like, I'm down to at least try it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing too. Like I kind of just have to like trust in the process and like kind of keep my head down and grind it out just like the same way I did in fighting, but it is like, it's the uncertainty is like the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. And so like, I have my husband to thank to like kind of like steer me back on course and be like, you're okay. We're doing this. Yeah. You're okay. Because sometimes I'm like, nah, I just want to lay in bed and eat ice cream and watch Netflix. Please. And he's like, no, you're a badass. Let's go. No. Like always like.
It's so important to have someone like that in your life, regardless if it's your partner or your best friend or your mom or dad or whatever. But like, I feel like I have a partner like that now and it's a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely my anchor.
Yeah. It helps you it gives you like a stable ground to springboard from.
Yeah, for sure.
And y'all been together for a long time.
Yeah, we have. It's, I think we're at that point now where it's kind of like you start losing count of how long we've been together. Yeah. But, Araya is 14 now. So we were together 3 years before Araya was born. So 17 years we've been together.
Oh my God.
I know.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I mean, that's an accomplishment in and of itself.
Gosh, I feel like, we've become just like we've kind of meshed into one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know like what I would do without him. And I think, we've both changed so much since then, but we've like grown together, which is beautiful.
What do you think is the key to a long-term relationship?
Well, he always jokes about it because I always like change my hair and stuff like that. So it's like every time you cut your hair or dye it or change it, I get to date a new girl. And also my weight fluctuates. So it's like skinny Michelle, big booty Michelle.
What do you want? Short hair, long hair?
Yeah. So I'm like, today I'm Ivanka. But just like, transparency, I think is key. And just like I said, I think growing together, like not allowing each other to become stagnant and encouraging each other to want to grow. and kind of like be a powerhouse together, you know? Because I think that sometimes you can get too comfortable with each other to where it's like, where it becomes stagnant and there is no movement in the water. And that's where, you know, that's where the bad stuff grows.
That's where it dies.
Yeah.
Really, you know? Yeah, bad stuff grows there, and you don't want to be swimming on that pool.
It grows and then it dies.
It's gross. Okay. But that's the thing. Like, you want change, you want growth as much as possible. And that can be challenging and uncomfortable at those times. But like, if you want your relationship to last, you have to support your partner in growing, and you have to be okay with growing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think honestly, that's the biggest thing. And just, also just like, I feel like the longer we're together, you know, the more rich our relationship becomes. And I always say it's like whiskey, you know, like you don't want to water down whiskey with like a cube of ice. If it's good whiskey, you drink it straight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I think because we've like leaned on each other all these years, it's just kind of made our bond just that much richer, you know?
Yeah, so. It's like it just keeps getting deeper.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I know you guys are really good together. It's great to see.
He's my rock. He's my, you know, we're talking about opposites attracting. And so like we are opposite. I'm the talker. He's kind of the strong and silent guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's more serious, and more calculated. And I'm kind of just like free spirited and like, la, 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 you know, which I think he wishes I wasn't. And I'm getting better. But it's probably just because, you know, we become a very, I've taken a lot of his characteristics because we have been together for so long, you know, and I see the beauty in how we've kind of leaned on each other and have grown together. I see the beauty in that, you know, whereas I think a lot of people can fall into that trap of thinking that the grass is greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it is easy because I do it in my career. I do it in my personal life. I do it, you know, and I think that's just kind of, again, it's like where the unknown is. It's like that curiosity. And it's just like, well, like, no, the grass is greener where you water it, you know, and it's where you take care of it. It's, you know, like if there's cracks, like fix the cracks, you know, and then it becomes something like that you created and cultivated and that you can be proud of.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do want to talk about, you came out to Nashville for an event that we threw called the Protect Her event.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked that people showed up.
Oh my gosh, we killed it.
I know, we actually did. We crushed it.
I think Whitney's a connector, you know, like she's great at like making friends and like kind of pulling like the greatness out of people and just like, you know, connecting and being like, hey, you should come. Like I try to tell people they should come. They don't come. Maybe it's because I'm not motivating or like, I'm not like, I don't know.
No, do not say that. Says the fucking UFC fighter and Invicta champ. She's running businesses, an amazing mom. Like,
yeah, but it was great. It was an amazing turnout. The mats were full.
Yeah.
The mats were so full and the girls are so enthusiastic and excited to be there.
Yeah, it was fun. It was great. I wanted to bring women, just give them a taste of like martial arts and being able to have self-awareness and situational awareness. Mm-hmm. And just the whole idea was, you know, it's a self-defense and wellness event. Like I'm going to tease them. I'm going to bring them in because you're going to get free massages and cupping and cold plunging, and you're going to win some really great prizes, meet some cool people. And you're going to feel really cool doing it because we're going to do the whole self-defense portion. But the way that you ran the seminar with Alex Barcelona here in Nashville was just, it was very easy to grasp, you know, and cool. I feel like the girls were stoked to be there. And it was it was just so much fun because to me, it just started off as like a little baby idea. And I texted you out of the blue, which is like, hey, would you want to do something like this with me? And you're like, heck yeah, let's do it. And so I didn't know if I would be able to even figure out how to do it because you have all those doubts in your head and I'm really good at playing that game. But I just put one step in front of the other and just started like, okay, what are my two worlds blending together? And it's, you know, I love the fight space. I love watching fights. I love the whole mentality and environment around it. And I also love to pamper myself and get my lashes done and be feminine and girly because I was Miss United States, you know? And so to me, it was really about like bringing the two worlds together, which is something that I think you do very flawlessly, naturally in your own life.
Thank you. Again, I think that's why we're drawn to each other, because we're very much similar in that sense. It's like you're scared to do a thing, but you do it anyways.
Yeah.
Like you do it scared. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of how I am too. Like I'll be shaking, like petrified, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to jump, you know? So, and then whatever you do after you jump, you know, you're going to fly.
Yeah.
But it was great. And the girls, you know, the girls took to it. And I think kind of just everything like fell in a line the way it was supposed to, you know, after retiring from fighting. You know, I think one of the things that I do want to do moving forward, turning the page to this next chapter, is, you know, getting as many people passionate about martial arts as I am, and having them understand how important it is to incorporate martial arts in your everyday life for children, for adults. It's something that, you know, everybody I think should do. And I think it's because it gives you so much, you know what I mean? It gives you a challenge, but it gives you community. It gives you a sense of confidence. It gives you like an understanding of how the world works, and how you yourself work. And just, I mean, I could go on and on about what I think, but as far as women go, I think it's even more vital for them to understand how important it is to protect yourselves, because, you know, like guys like to do martial arts because it's kind of like, I don't know, in their DNA, like to fight and all that stuff. But girls need to learn how to do martial arts to protect themselves, to protect their loved ones, and to, you know, that's who the guys are, or not the guys, but the, you know, the perpetrators, or these bad guys in the world are looking out for. They want to see if they can take advantage of these girls that are vulnerable, that are small, weak, sensitive, unaware, you know. And so let's just not give them that opportunity.
Yeah, we'll dive into this and then we'll close out the show. But what do you think is the most important for women to know when it comes to self-defense or protecting themselves?
I mean, I think it's the preventative, right? I mean, that's just I think that's universal when it comes to anything in life. It's like, it's better to do the preventative stuff than already get yourself in deep waters and have to try to dig yourself out. You know, so we spent a good amount of time talking about situational awareness, because if you have good situational awareness, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get yourself in those positions.
Yeah, you're not going to attract the perpetrator or the 100%. Creepy guy or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you want to go out with your girls, like have a plan, you know, like don't get to the point where you are, you know, don't know where you're at. And you know, if you're going to do that, like stay at home with your girls and know that you're in a safe place where you can, you know, let loose and be in that white zone of awareness. So all those things, and it has nothing to do, and it goes so much further than just going out to the club and having a good time, because you could be completely sober and in your car and in a parking lot or at a gas station, and somebody is trying to take advantage of you. You can be walking down, you know, I've seen so many videos where girls are just like walking down like you know, the street next to a park and get taken advantage of because they weren't aware. They're looking down on their phone, or, you know, looking into their purse trying to find their keys, and at that moment is when you know somebody snatches you up, and it's scary.
Yeah, the world is a gnarly place. As much as we can live in our own little bubbles and like, God forbid anything actually happens and we can just go for a walk in our neighborhood, no big deal. There's things that happen on every street that we have no idea about. And it unfortunately could happen to us at any point. I mean, you're a world champion and world-class fighter, you know, like the last person I want to mess with is you, for sure. But you don't go to gas stations at night.
Nope. I don't go to gas stations at night. I don't go grocery shopping at night. Like, and if I have to, like, absolutely have to, I'm finding a place where, you know, it's, you know, it has good lighting, and you know, I'm parking right underneath the street lamp, and there's like all sorts of like little things that you can do to make sure that you're in a safer place.
What do you say to people that would say that that's being paranoid? By being that aware or choosing not to do certain things at certain times of day is just being paranoid?
No, it's just being aware. You know what I mean? And we kind of talked about that in the seminar, having different levels of awareness, and like thinking that like there's going to be a serial killer that's out to kill you at every second of every moment of your life. That is, overly, that is like being in the red. And as a fighter, like I have to be in the red when I know I'm stepping into the cage and they're closing the gate behind me to fight 25 minutes. Right. So now I'm in the red. Now it's go time. And now I'm hyper aware. But that's not sustainable like every day and every second of your life. But what is sustainable is just being aware. And somebody that says that you're being paranoid or hypersensitive might be somebody that's trying to get you to get your guard down. You know what I mean? It's not always the person that you don't know or in the stranger danger. It sometimes is the person that you do trust the most that is trying to get your guard down slowly, because they know that the best way to take advantage of you is when your guard is down. Mm-hmm. And that's unfortunate too.
Yeah, it's very, very true. It's very true. And I think the other thing that was interesting that we talked a little bit about was the fact that, you can be all of these things. You can be a mom, you can be very feminine, you can do all of that. And I also think the fact that we walk around with our bodies, this is the one thing that we have regardless until we don't, that you being more comfortable with who you are and understanding how this actually works and taking more of a proactive role to life as opposed to being passive and life is happening to me and nothing's going to happen to me. It's like, if you take the proactive role, you're really confident. And in fact, you're like fully embodied into the feminine of who you are by knowing how to use your body if you need to.
I 100%. And I think that, body language plays a huge role in it. And that's another thing that, the bad guy is looking out for. What is this person's body language? Are they confident? How are they walking through life? Anybody that you talk to will say that there's a difference in somebody's way of life by their body language. And if you want to change how you walk through life, you start by changing your body language. You start by changing your physiology. It's just the difference in a couple centimeters. It's like how you walk through life.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm having a bad day, I'll go in the mirror and put my shoulders back.
Yeah.
Come on, Whitney. Let's go. Pull yourself out of it.
Let's go.
Shoulders back power stance.
Mama said you a pimp.
Get out of it.
100%. And it works. And you might feel silly doing it, but gosh, it already puts a smile on your face. It makes you laugh. It changes like all of the energy that's like flowing through your body. So yeah, do it, man.
Yeah. All these little things that you might think are dumb and cliche actually are pretty truthful.
100%. And if they are dumb and cliche, it's cliche for a reason. Like they say it over and over and over and over again for a reason. It's because like the people that are so successful, they don't do 100 million things once. They do one thing 100 million times.
Yep.
They say it over and over and over and over and over again. They do it over and over and over and over again. The champions, the GOATs, they'll tell you all the same thing.
Yeah, they go deep. Well, Michelle, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of the Protect Her event. You absolutely rocked it. Hopefully we'll do something like that again in the future. And maybe we'll just keep chit-chatting. And I'm excited for this next chapter that you have going on.
I am too. And I'm excited for you. I'm like always your biggest cheerleader. And let's continue on pushing forward.
Yeah, girl. Love you.
Love you too.